What's up? Welcome back. It is the TNA HeelCast Year in Review Show. Not sure what week or episode we want to call this. We're just calling this a week or the Year in Review of 2016. I'm your host, the RAV, Raven Effect. Along with me today is Hurls himself. Hurls, what's going on, man?
What's up, HeelCast Nation? After everything is settled down with Christmas and New Year's, I am so ready to talk some TNA.
And I guess the best thing that happened in 2016 overall for TNA is that we have a TNA going into 2016. So at least we're a little bit on the lucky side there. Am I right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, we had to hold our breath for a while there. We really didn't know what was going to go on or what was happening. Everything was kind of shut tight. So when we found out that Anthem got the company and they are the sole owners now, I think a lot of TNA fans have sigh of relief.
Yeah, and so, I mean, that's one of the big things that I've read is that it sounds like Anthem is full-on taking the company away from Dixie Carter. So, or it sounds like, I mean, Dixie Carter is going to be out, am I right? Is that what's going on?
I honestly don't see how she sticks around. I don't even know what role they would put her in. Unless, I mean, there was talks earlier that they were possibly going to put her in a role to discuss foreign deals, but I'm not really sure they're going to do that because it kind of seems like they're doing the streaming thing with the foreign markets. So I really don't know what Dixie's going to do. I'm going to be very interested to see what happens to her in 2017. As far as right now, she's still promoting Impact like normal, so that we'll definitely have to check on.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to just kind of move on to some news, but before that, you know we got the live shows coming up. I just want to give a shout-out to my boy Chef, our boy Chef. You know Chef's going to be out there at the taping, so Chef, what's up? Check out Chef at TNA Mafia. Shout out to FK9. What's going on, man? So these could be the final tapings of Drew Galloway in TNA. So Drew recently had said that his contract is over in February with TNA. Really didn't give a lot out there. Charles, what's your thoughts on Galloway being a free agent? Because I think this would be a massively devastating loss if TNA were to lose Drew Galloway.
I read that Anthem was the first thing they want to do is start to lock down the talent that TNA has. And Drew Galloway's contract does end in February. So I believe Anthem and Drew are going to go to the negotiation table and hopefully work out a new deal. If Drew were to leave, that would be a big blow because I think he is so underrated. When it comes to the world of pro wrestling, he's not a guy that people look at and think great match, but yet that's all he does. He puts on great match after great match. So Drew Galloway definitely needs to stay in TNA, and TNA needs to re-sign Drew Galloway. They cannot let Drew go.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I think Drew Galloway put on more great matches in TNA, than anyone else in the company this past year. I was not very big on Drew Galloway becoming the champ, and I thought Drew Galloway in 2015, I wasn't digging Drew Galloway despite being ecstatic when they brought him in. That guy completely changed my mind this year. I think he put on more great matches in TNA than anyone else, hands down by far. And it'd just be the hugest loss because I don't think there's anyone out there on their roster that did what Drew did. And, I mean, TNA, they don't do the wrestling heavy kind of thing. We don't really get to see a lot of great matches on TV. But when they do, I think this guy's had the most. And he's someone that they really need to have that around for because it's something that sticks out and something that's necessary for the product. So, Drew, please re-sign with TNA. Anthem, do what you have to do to keep this guy around, please. Speaking of a show that actually does showcase the great talent and matches by that kind of being their thing, there's Ring of Honor. Pearls, you explained to me that there's rumors that Billy Corgan and Dave Lagana are actually talking to Ring of Honor. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Dave Lagana and Billy Corgan met with Ring of Honor officials. It obviously makes sense if you're Ring of Honor because I think they need some more creativity in their product, and Billy Corgan is now a free agent, and so is Dave Lagana, who left in November. So it definitely makes sense that those two would be talking to Ring of Honor. I hope it works out for them because they're not going to be back in TNA. So I wouldn't mind seeing them in Ring of Honor and seeing what they can do with it. And, we'll see. But, good luck to Billy. I think he was a great person to have in TNA. I really do.
Wait, Billy Corgan's not going to be back in TNA? Are you serious? That was a joke. Yeah, I don't expect Billy's going to be back in TNA. Look, Brother Underscore and myself are pretty harsh on Ring of Honor's product, and both him and I are fans of Ring of Honor, and we want Ring of Honor to succeed and do well. I haven't watched it in months. I just found out today Kyle O'Reilly's their champ. Truthfully, the last thing I saw was when Kevin Sullivan came out and attacked Steve Corino. I haven't watched since then, really. But just the booking and just the show got so bad. And I think Dave Lagana and even Billy Corgan did some really good things this past year. I'll be honest, if Billy Corgan's version of TNA was what was on these past tapings, TNA may have dodged a bullet there. But, Billy Corgan did do a lot of good things, and he was someone I wanted to get the company, and I still wish he would have it over Dixie any day of the week. But, it'll be interesting to see if that happens, what ROH will look like, and what TNA is going to look like, frankly, without Billy Corgan and without Dave Lagana around. And we're going to find out this coming week with the Live Impact. And, of course, Hurls, we at least got to throw this on there, One Night Only Live this coming Saturday. Or no, is it Friday? It's Friday, right?
Yes. I believe it's going to come out on Friday. So it's going to be 2 back-to-back live shows.
Yeah, which is awesome. And I'm definitely going to be getting One Night Only Live. I don't know about you. I loved it last year.
I thought it was really, really good. I talked about it a few weeks back on this show that it was the only time you saw Kurt Angle versus any of the Wolves. So I thought that was really cool. We saw a lot of cool things on One Night Only Live last year. So I'm hoping that this year's will live up to it. I think it will.
Wait, I want to see some big things happen. For One Night Only Live, let's do, let's have a world title match. Let's have a title change hands. Let's see something big happen. Let's make your fans want to tune in for a reason. And hopefully with Dixie gone, hopefully with someone else, kind of at the creative head, maybe we'll see something like that happen on One Night Only Live. Excuse me. Sorry for the cough, everyone. Now, speaking of someone who used to put on regular TNA pay-per-views and all that jazz, Jeff Jarrett been speaking with Anthem. Hurls. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mentioned about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago that had been, that I thought that, Anthem was really investigating how TNA ran because the new, the head of TNA now is going to be, I believe his name is Keith Nordholm or Kevin Nordholm. I can't remember which one it is, but Mr. Nordholm, that's all. I'll just call him that. He's a very business savvy person, so he goes into these companies and he finds out what works and what doesn't. So what he did was he talked to Jeff Jarrett, and he talked about how Jeff Jarrett would run it and how Jeff Jarrett used to run it. So he went to the guy who founded TNA. It was a very smart move. So I would not be shocked if Jeff Jarrett is back in TNA, and I'd almost take it to the bank that Jeff Jarrett will be back in TNA in some way, shape, or form, because TNA has a lot of creative positions to fill. They lost Billy Corgan. They lost Dave Lagana. They're going to be looking for people to fill those positions. Jeff Jarrett would be a perfect one to get, and so would Scott D'Amore. I hope both of them would come over. So if Jeff Jarrett, I would not be surprised if Jeff Jarrett is back in TNA rather soon.
I hope so bad that Jeff Jarrett and Scott D'Amore, even just Jarrett, would come back to TNA so bad. Look, I love this roster. Won me over. I've loved most of 2016. Guys, Jeff Jarrett's version of TNA kicked the living shit out of all the other versions and resets of TNA since 2010. Whatever, it's not even close. Go watch 2000. Okay, we'll watch TNA from the start. TNA used to have the most rabid crowd in wrestling since ECW died off. You can hear pin drops in the arenas now. When Jeff Jarrett was running TNA, a TNA crowd was fucking hot. TNA was this thing that was going to come up and be big. That could be competition to the WWE. Jeff Jarrett knew what he was doing. Seriously, Jeff Jarrett, when he first started GFW, like in 2014 and 15, if you would have compared the two rosters between GFW and TNA, GFW's was fucking more talented. Like, Jeff Jarrett knows what he's doing. He knows how to get people. He created the X Division, which was monumental, like, big, knew what he was doing. The wrestling in TNA when Jeff Jarrett was there it was awesome. Like, you would always have great wrestling in TNA. The Russo stuff and, like, the storylines and stuff were kind of shitty at times. And that kind of held TNA back. But the wrestling always was superior to what you'd see on WWE and even Ring of Honor. Like, Ring of Honor matches used to not fuck with TNA. Like, TNA would always put on amazing matches. And, like, that's what's missing in TNA, and that's what I want to see come back. So, Jeff, come on back. And it was good that someone did search him out. So, there's that. Sorry to kind of reminisce on back in my days at TNA, but, I went there.
Well, there's another position, too, that's out there that used to be a creative mind in TNA is Dutch Mantle. He's a free agent. So you could definitely see him coming back to the company. So those are three guys that I mentioned that I could easily see back in TNA, especially with Mr. Nordholm, who's definitely exploring those options.
Well, that's good. I mean, the thing, like, with TNA, it's just if we get this person, they get that. I mean, if I were free agent talent out there, I mean, it would be kind of hard to, want to go with TNA because there is so much uncertainty in the company right now with a change in ownership, but maybe they'll look at it as, hey, you know what, this company's got, a new backer, it's a new regime, someone we can trust, will actually get paid on time, that sort of thing. But that tax stuff, and people, like, a lot of people don't understand this stuff. They're going to get people talking in their ear that don't know what they're talking about. They'll say, oh, you don't want to go to TNA. TNA is done because of that tax situation. We don't know the final details there, and, we don't know what Anthem's working with and what they're not. But, we'll find out. Hopefully we get some new talent.
Well, Raven, I mean, the one thing, too, is Anthem owns Fight Network, so they want TNA to succeed because they need that content for the Fight Network. And they're also launching the UK app, which, mind you, is $2 a month, I believe, maybe a little more. But they get, like, every pay-per-view for free and Impact. I almost wish that app was here in the States. I kind of feel a little gypped on that.
Yeah, no shit, right? I'll take the pay-per-views. I mean, I'm going to pay $15, $20 for whatever one I'd only live is going to cost. I paid the full-on $40 for both Slammiversary and Bound for Glory. I'd gladly take that. $2, all the pay-per-views, no problem there. I wouldn't have to try and stream most of the one-night onlys off of my Fire Stick, which doesn't do me much justice.
Oh, right. I mean, it's just, and the one thing I want to say too is, like, people think, like, WWE is so groundbreaking for bringing the network, which is a really cool thing. But let's not forget that TNA had its own streaming service before called TNA On Demand, which I think was $5 a month, and you got everything included. So I'm wondering if that was the ground, kind of almost the start of WWE getting the network.
Yeah, I don't know. It definitely could have been. Just like the way that TNA used to do business with the DVDs and all that stuff, like all the merchandise, there used to be so much more. But yeah, and not only merchandise, but like you said, with the the TNA On Demand and whatnot. And I know they used to have like a decent YouTube channel. Used to have a crazy rapid fan base that seemed pretty damn loyal too. But Hurls, one thing just came into my mind before we actually jump back into 2016 because it was a news story So for those of us hoping to see Kurt Angle come back to TNA, it doesn't sound like that's going to happen. Angle, who is kind of came off as full of shit at times, so take it with a grain of salt, which I'm not disrespecting the man because I idolize the man. I think he's one of the greatest of all time, but it's Kurt's telling people he's going to go back to the WWE and be at WrestleMania this year. Did you hear about that?
I did, and it's not the first time he said that in the last three or 4 years, too. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I would think, like, if WWE was smart, they'd bring him in. Especially at least to have one last match and a Hall of Fame induction. But also Matt Hardy said that he wanted to have Kurt Angle in his next Total Nonstop Deletion, which, by the way, almost leads you to believe that there's going to be another one. So that'll be actually really cool. But
that would be.
I would love to see a Kurt Angle in a Total Nonstop Deletion. I think that would be great. Even like Goofy Kurt Angle, like 2008 Goofy Kurt Angle, that would be awesome. I think him and Broken Matt Hardy, that would be gold.
You know, I think Kurt Angle, when he was in the WWE, I want to say 2000, 2001, you know, goofy Kurt Angle before he kind of got the, you know, Ken Shamrock type of personality that he's had for so many years now. I thought that stuff was so hilarious. I never thought goofy Kurt Angle in WWE ever got the credit that it did either. But you know what would grind my gears, dude, was like if he wrestles AJ Styles or Samoa Joe at WrestleMania, like on the big stage, and then like, you know, the people that shit all over TNA and just be like, oh yeah, we're getting a great match. And, you know, because they'll be like, Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe, God, I want to see it so bad. And they'll say how great it was and on when, you know, like we've seen it a dozen times in TNA and they used to always shit on TNA and say that this guy sucks. Like AJ Styles and Kurt Angle in a big match at WrestleMania, wouldn't that just kind of, to have the little fanboys say what they say, would kind of just grind my gears. Just want to throw that out there on a side note.
The fanboys should be listening to a recent Chris Jericho interview where he said in Japan, he said the whole WWE locker room was backstage watching the final deletion when it first came out. AJ Styles was watching it, so was John Cena. So I thought that was really cool. So, yes, there is a lot of people paying attention to TNA. Whether they want to admit it or not, it's definitely happening when you have guys like Chris Jericho saying the whole WWE locker room watched the final deletion.
It would be nice if the WWE locker room would have had like a little Nielsen rating to write that in there at one point during the final deletion. That'd be nice because it sounds there's more proof people actually watch TNA than what they get told, you know, by the TV ratings and all that kind of thing, especially with the way TV's evolved and apps and streaming and all that shit. But you know what?
Wait a minute. Did I just hear you talking about Kurt Angle? Kurt Angle is a joke. The hottest thing going today is my daughter, Charlotte. Woo! My daughter.
Wow.
That's who you need to be talking about. All right? You want to talk about ratings? My daughter, Charlotte, is bringing in the ratings. Woo!
Wow.
Hello?
The Nature Boy
who I
has
am?
joined the show? Whoa.
I am the 16-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion. Woo! Limousine riding, jet flying, Ken Simmons, Willie Dillon, son of a gun. The Nature Boy. I'm here and I'm live.
Nate, how's it going?
It's going great. If TNA would pay my bar tabs, we'd be doing a little better. Woo! Kurt Angle, that pill popping joke is yesterday's news. My daughter Charlotte is the greatest in the business today. Woo! The greatest.
But Nature Boy, what do you think of Rosemary? I mean, surely she has something to say about that.
Who? Exactly. That's right. No one knows who Rose woo, Mary, woo, is my daughter Charlotte is the greatest in the business today. Did you hear me the first time? Did you hear me the second time? Or do I need to say it again? My daughter, woo, Charlotte, she is on her way to the top of the mountain. Woo. Not Sphinx Mountain. Woo. But we all know it may be the oldest ride in the park, but it's still got the longest line. Woo. Woo. Woman, oh woman, won't you marry me now? Woo. Woo.
Well, Nate, I got to disagree with you. I mean, I believe Charlotte's really good, but to say she's the best when she hasn't beaten the best.
Wait a minute. Did you say but? What's this but stuff, buddy?
Wow.
There are no ifs, there are no ands, and there sure as hell are no buts. My daughter, Charlotte, woo, is the greatest in the business today. Who are you kidding?
Raven, you have anything to say to Nature Boy?
Quit pulling your dick out in front of stewardess when you're a senior citizen.
Wait a minute. You better show me some respect, you idiot. You know who you're talking to. I will kick your ass, buddy. I will kick your ass. I will knock you out.
Hey, Rick, who paid your TNA salary?
Where'd you get this smart ass from? What do you know, jackass? You kidding me?
Rick.
What do you want? Stop calling me. What?
Who paid your salary when you were in TNA, Rick? Was it Spike TV? Was it Dixie?
It was Dixie, of course. Spike TV isn't giving away anything.
Did Dixie ride Space Mountain, Rick?
No, hell no. Are you kidding me? All right? Hell no. She could have. I mean, she's not bad looking, but of course, I never spoke to her in that capacity. No,
Rick,
she was too busy all over AJ Styles' nut. Don't you remember?
Rick, buddy, you better take some. Wow.
Whoa. Yeah, I said it, Dixie. You hear me? And you know where TNA dropped the ball? They couldn't even afford the Nature Boys bar tab. Look it up. They couldn't even afford my bar tab. So, Dixie Carter, you can shove it right up your ass. Woo!
All right, Raven. Back to the last news.
Yeah, the last news of the night should be about my daughter, Charlotte. That's what the last news is. That's the showstopper, the main event. My daughter, Charlotte. I mean, who's left to mention? DDP? We're sick of hearing about that moron. Whoa. Yeah, I said it. Where's Hogan? You guys got Hogan in here? I mean, really? I want to ask the guy, who wants to watch Hogan having sex? Really?
All right. Sorry about that. We're going to work on getting Raven Effect here. But, yeah, Ric Flair interrupting the podcast.
right. Where's my check? You got to pay me for my appearance. You don't just push me out the door. For Raven? For Raven? Are you kidding me? Raven, I know your real name, Raven. Yeah, that's right. I know your real name there, buddy. And you're a joke. You've always been a joke. A joke. Just like Gregory Health. A joke. A flash in the pan. Out of here. Right away. Bingo, dingo, gone. Yeah. I've got your Gilbert there, buddy. Yeah, are you kidding me? What a Mark fest. What a Mark fest. Woo!
And we're back after the nice little glitch there that we had. Very annoying. I guess a little funny in hindsight, but a whole lot more annoying. So let's recap 2016. A lot of big things, a lot of champions, new championships, new wrestlers, new characters. What else am I missing? Just in a general broad thing. Oh, yeah. New ownership, Dixie versus Billy saga, Broken Brilliance, company almost going under after Slammiversary, company almost going under, again, Bound for Glory. Crazy year for a year that didn't have a whole lot of news to start with. One thing was we did lose some roster staples. Hurls, if I mention some names here, if I forget anyone, let me know. But this year we've lost Awesome Kong. We lost Taryn Terrell at the very, very start of the year. Because that was kind of a heads up. She wasn't on TV at all. But heading up to 2016, we were at least kind of expecting it. Mr. Anderson, Velvet Sky, Kurt Angle, waiting for an interruption. None. Eric.
Yeah.
Eric, yeah. I wasn't actually talking about you as the interruption. I was talking about good old Nate as the interruption, since we said Girl Angle. EY, Bobby Roode, the Tribunal is now gone. T. Great Uno is now gone. Am I missing anyone else?
I think. Oh boy. Well, I mean, you got Billy Corgan and Logano, like we talked, but
true.
They're not really on-screen talents.
Sounds like Carter.
Was Sergeant Chris Melendez, was he this year?
Yeah, that's right. Melendez is gone. No one's missing him. Let's see. No, like literally no one. I think that's about it. Thought we may have lost Bram there for a minute, but we didn't.
Some people speculated James Storm, too.
Oh, you know what? Angelina Love. That was this year, wasn't it?
Yes, I believe it was. I think she was.
It may have been last year, though.
I don't think she ever made an appearance, but she was under contract at the start of the year.
Rebel. We did lose Rebel.
Yep.
Angelina's contract expired. I think that's about it, but I think for once, other than, Bobby Roode and EY, because those guys you can't replace, but I think for once, we kind of finally got, with TNA, all the names have been leaving, and there just hasn't been enough desired talent brought in. But I think, this year, it finally kind of overran it. You know what I mean? From Moose to Bennett to Maria, Rosemary, there's Aaron Rex, we've got Cody Rhodes, coming in and passing out. We got Brandy Rhodes, Allie, Braxton Sutter, Sienna. Who knows about Marseille Rocket, but he's there. I know there's some other new talent I've got to be overlooking right now. Am I right?
Caleb Conley was another one they signed. We didn't get to see him much.
No, not.
Yeah.
We saw Shinron too, but that doesn't mean we're going to see him again. I wish we did. Double J and Anthem.
David Starr, another guy that they definitely should sign.
Yeah. And God, what's the guy's name that just impressed the hell out of me? I can't remember. JT Dunn. David Starr, JT Dunn. Yeah. But so those are some losses. We got some gains. Now, we didn't really do the voting, but Charles, I'm going to let you go ahead and let's start with the awards. So I'm not sure if I think I wrote down the ones you told me. So let's start it off with you said you dropped the rookie comment. So let's go at the rookies. I'm going to have you kind of go ahead and give your thoughts on the Rookie of the Year for TNA.
Sure.
And how you came about it.
So this award was, we kind of narrowed it down to wrestlers who have not been in Ring of Honor or WWE. If they were in them, maybe it was for like an episode just as like a enhancement talent. So that's kind of what we're basing wrestlers that came into TNA. If they have not been in WWE or Ring of Honor, that's kind of how we're basing the rookie. Any televised, even Lucha Underground for that matter. So the four that we had that we could come up with were Braxton Sutter, Allie, Rosemary, and Marche Rocket. So those were kind of the guys in the category that we're basing this on. So my 2016 Rookie of the Year is without a shadow of a doubt. Oh, I also forgot Sienna. Sienna's in this too, but my 2016 Rookie of the Year, without a shadow of a doubt, is Rosemary. She delivered on all fronts. She started right in the early TNA in 2016, and she hit everything out of the park, in my opinion. And she was the best character TNA has had in years. And you could go way back, but I believe, probably the best since EC3, for sure. And she just nailed it. So my 2016 Rookie of the Year is definitely Rosemary.
Yep. Come on, man. We can't even argue that. Look, Sienna, has she gotten more time? She's still not going to hit there character-wise. Allie, had she gotten there more time, maybe a little bit closer. Rosemary, just by far, especially with the Knockouts title win at the end, it seals it. Like, there's no competition in this one, in my opinion.
And I think, speaking of, I would say all the other HeelCasters would probably pick Rosemary as well. I couldn't see anybody else being picked there.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I don't think so at all. So let's go ahead and have you pick the next category for me, Hurls.
Sure. The next category we're going to do is Newcomer of the Year for 2016. And this was anybody from Ring of Honor or WWE that came to TNA. So this,
and the
for my
pick,
pick,
right?
Yes, we can do rookies as well for this one. So anybody new that was not in TNA in 2015. So my pick for this one was Mike Bennett. I thought since the first episode, even before that, when they had the promos on the YouTube page, I thought Mike Bennett was just a solid addition to TNA. His mic work was phenomenal, and his feuds were phenomenal. His matches were great. Everything that Mike Bennett did this year, for the most part, was just a home run. I thought he added a lot to TNA this year. So my newcomer, my TNA newcomer of the year definitely is going to Mike Bennett.
Since like June, I've been thinking about when this question came up, how I could answer it, and I still don't have an answer. Mike Bennett, Maria Kanellis Bennett, Rosemary. I don't think there's any clear winner of the three. I think Maria Kanellis-Bennett is the most underrated and underappreciated star in TNA because I think she's got everyone over. I think everything she has done as a talker, as a valet, as everything is just incredible and underrated. I think she is the reason Allie is as big as she is. I think her and Gail, they had the big thing. Mike Bennett proved that he wasn't used properly at all in Ring of Honor. Mike Bennett is a star. He is a good wrestler. He is a talented talker. His psychology, everything is great. Rosemary, best actress I've seen in wrestling. Amazing new character. Champion, knockouts champion. Not only the wrestling skills, but all the promos for DK, like how many out-of-the-park promos that she had, being involved in their matches, getting in there and mixing it up with guys like Davey Richards and the Hardys and all of that. The total nonstop deletion, just such an impact. Dude, how do I pick one of these three? You got Bennett. I'm going Rosemary on this, too. And, part of me really wants to say Maria, too. And part of me really wants to say Mike Bennett. I'm going to give it to Rosemary again. I think the title ran it and sealed it. I think it sealed it. I think I was probably leaning more towards Bennett or Maria because Rosemary hadn't been in that many matches. But, dude, and look what Maria was able to do with both Gail, then with Dixie for a very small point, and then what she's doing for Allie right now. It's just unbelievable work from all three.
Yeah, every feud that she has been in is people have been risen on the card because of her. And going back to Mike Bennett, I just think that he's been able to do everything from a serious promo to a goofy promo like we saw at Thanksgiving. He's so versatile in the roles he does. I think he's just a phenomenal get for TNA. But yes. Rosemary, you can easily make a case for her as well because she has done so much great stuff throughout the year. Her body of work for 2016 was phenomenal. No wrong answer there.
No, not at all. I think, basically we're going to wrap it up. The last things we should do be, wrestler of the year, knockout, tag team, and match of the year. So I'll pick the next category for us, and we'll kind of break out that way. Let's go with the breakout star of the year. Let's try that.
Cool.
Sure. Hurls, I'll let you go ahead and start talking on that one. It's yours.
My breakout star is pretty easy. And I think he got the opportunity once Mr. Anderson was released because he kind of got what Mr. Anderson was supposed to get. It's Eli Drake. This guy is a heavyweight champion in the making, and Let Me Talk to You was one of the greatest things that happened to him. The dummy button. He was King of the Mountain champion. Those promos were great too. I thought his 2016 he's elevated as one of the best talkers in the business, not just TNA, in the whole wrestling business. There's reports that WWE wants to bring him in. So he's done great things. He's got the whole wrestling world paying attention to him. So my breakout star for 2016 is definitely Eli Drake.
Yeah, we as soon as this came out, it kind of dawned on me we forgot to bring up the fact that there are rumors WWE wants to bring Eli Drake back and possibly Galloway and all that. It sucks because Eli Drake is a major breakout star. I've thought about this, who to put down, the options, and I think Crazy Steve comes around. I think Jesse Goddard could be a breakout star. I see DJ Z, Moose even. Moose is big. Moose is over. Lashley could transition. Matt Hardy could become the biggest thing in wrestling. Cody Rhodes, I don't know what his situation is going to be like with TNA, but you look at Cody, take the WWE restrictions off the guy. He's doing big things in Japan right now. But my my answer is the same as yours. It's Eli Drake. Eli Drake's the breakout star. That talk show is amazing. I love that show. The Facts of Life. The Master of Badassery. He's just an amazing talker. Amazing on the mic. Good wrestler. We watched him get the King of the Mountain title. We watched him win the what Jesus Christ, Hurls, what do they call it? It's the Gauntlet for Glory. Is that what it's called? Or like the
Gauntlet for Gold.
Yeah, Gauntlet for Gold.
Yep.
I wish he would have beaten Eddie Edwards and won the belt. I think the time was right for Eli Drake. He's in a feud with Ethan Carter III, the biggest guy in the company, the biggest star that maybe not be broken. Big thing, breakout star for sure. Hurls, let's have you go ahead and pick our next category.
Sure. Next category that I have is the biggest moment for TNA in 2016. This one, for me, it has to be the final deletion. Or not, I'm sorry. Yes, the final deletion. I think this was the biggest moment for TNA. Not only was it the biggest Impact episode ratings-wise, this is when TNA really started to make the wrestling world turn it upside down. The final deletion, everything about it was just so different that we haven't really seen anything like it. Yeah, sure, a lot of people say, oh, it's copying a little bit from Lucha Underground, but not really. I think they're way different in their own right. I think TNA just, this was so different. It had that B-movie vibe, but it was so great. We got so much good stuff out of this. Vanguard 1, Senior Benjamin, Dilapidated Mode, Skarsgård, the Scribe. We got everything, the Seven Deities. This just spawned everything for me. I think this was definitely the biggest moment of 2016 for TNA.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that, Hurls. And, especially with it being the first one, that it did get the biggest rating, did get the biggest pop. We've had kind of two sequels since. The one at Bound for Glory, was it the Final Battle? I thought that was the best of the three. But, when I've thought of moments, and, there was, I think about some of the things like Beer Money's last match where they lost the belt to DK, and we knew Rude was gone, and you could feel it in the crowd, and you see that vibe. I thought about Rosemary winning the Knockouts title. I thought about the Jeff Hardy bumps is some of the top moments for me, but it came down to two things. And what it's going to be, my runner-up, I'm going to give the return of the Cowboy James Storm. A little unexpected. I guess it could have been AJ Styles, and, that's kind of what people were thinking. I was kind of hoping we'd see Austin Aries, but the James Storm comeback was amazing. Definitely got me really excited about TNA to see Beer Money back. But for me, the moment of 2016 was when Mike Bennett pinned EC3 fair and square in the middle of the ring, the Bret Hart Roddy Piper finish from WrestleMania 8. Ethan had never been pinned fair and square for, a year and a half or more? No, it was 2 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was since October of 2014, I want to say. Right. Was it? Yeah, because that's when he debuted. So, yep.
Yeah. First time, Matt Hardy got it, but, this was the first time. And
I'm sorry, actually October of 2013. I'm sorry about that. 2013. That was his debut.
It was 2013, no shit, really?
Yep. Wow. It was 2013, yep.
Love EC3. And it made Bennett, and I think Bennett, they kind of dropped the ball with his heat and his momentum. I think Bennett should be a main eventer. I think Bennett should be one of the guys along with EC3, James Storm, and hopefully Davey Richards before he leaves us for good. They should wear the gold in 2017. And, don't forget we've got our Galloways and Lashley's out there, but that's just how I'm looking at it. And our Eli Drakes, all that. There's a lot of good stuff on the roster,
Definitely. That was another really big highlight. I remember that Impact main event. It was pretty shocking, and then it set up their Slammiversary match, which was really good. Definitely a solid pick there.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do events of 2017 or 2016. I'm just going to say it real quick. I don't think anything compares to Slammiversary. I think that was by far the best show. Beats Bound for Glory, Total Non-Stop Deletion, all that in my opinion. I think we had like literally 5 or 6 amazing matches on Slammiversary. That was the best wrestling pay-per-view I've seen in years.
Yeah, I as well. I have Slammiversary as well. I thought it was a really solid pay-per-view. You had so many good matches. You know, it really kind of spawned off the Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy stuff to another level. And you had a great main event with Drew Galloway and Bobby Lashley. And you had EC3 and Mike Bennett. There's just so many good matches I could name. You know, I could go on and on and on. But Slammiversary definitely was the best event, I think, from head to toe.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Hurls, what you got? What you got next? What you want to talk about?
Sure. I want to go with the biggest news story of TNA for 2016. I'd have to say that it was Anthem purchasing TNA, because without them, there wouldn't be a TNA. So I thought that was the biggest news story. Yes, we had the whole AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson fiasco at the beginning of the year. That was a big story because, you know, if they could have worked a deal out with them three, wow, I mean, I think we'd be talking about something totally different right now. But I went with Anthem buying the company because that is the biggest news story, because they're going to have the most influence on TNA going into 2017. You know, the whole, you know, basically Anthem buying it's kind of tied in with the Billy Corgan stuff. So I got to go with Anthem buying TNA as the biggest news story for TNA of 2016.
Yeah, I'm glad I was going to bring up the AJ Styles and, you know, Bullet Club or the club thing. You know, the rise in popularity of Broken Brilliance and Matt Hardy just really doing the biggest thing he's ever done, and it being such a huge hit. And, you know, that's one thing. And, you know, I think Bobby Roode and Eric Young leaving TNA should have, in any other time, definitely been this. And Kurt Angle retiring, things like that. But Roode and EY leaving TNA at the same time, I mean, devastating. But, dude, come on. Dixie versus Billy, Anthem buying the company. My God, all the lawsuits that came out against TNA, all these people suing them, learning all the stuff about the taxes with Dixie, just all the stuff that came out. Dixie versus Billy. Dude, nothing can even compare to that for Story of the Year. I mean, that was by far Story of the Year until the day I die. Yeah, dude, what's fucking with that, right?
No kidding. It went on for months and months and months, and it had us, you know, wait nervously while we, you know, was there going to be a TNA? Was WWE going to come in and purchase it? Was Ring of Honor going to come in and purchase it? I mean, there was just so much stuff thrown out there that, you know, thankfully, neither of that happened. But we were waiting. We had no clue at certain points. You know, was Bound for Glory going to even happen? I mean, you know, as TNA fans, I'm sure that gave us a lot of gray hairs along the way, because, I mean, there was just so much stuff coming out about what was going to happen to the future of TNA. This is definitely the biggest story for me, by far.
Yeah. Just seriously, man, no competition. God, I remember, like, I just couldn't even listen to it. I just didn't want to get my heart broken. You know, it got to that point for me. It's like all those years we read it on dirt sheets and people said it, and we're like, just fuck off. We're going into the next year. TNA's still around, doing just fine, lost 2 cable deals. But, like, this year it really kind of fucking really came full force, but it is what it is, right? We're still here.
Thank God for Anthem. Thank God for Anthem. Who knows? They may have been the only ones that could have saved TNA. We don't know. But, I mean, Billy Corgan had a chance too, but, you know, Anthem's definitely got a little more dough. So that's always a good thing.
For sure. All right. Promo of the Year, Hurls, 2016. What do you think was the best promo?
Oh, man, there were so many to choose from. I mean, I'd have to go with EC3 at the press conference with Bobby Lashley, I thought just the way he unleashed it, what he was going to do going into Bound for Glory, I think EC3 hit the nail on the head there as one of the best promos. There was so many, though. I mean, you could have went with any of the Broken Hardy stuff. You could have went with Eli Drake showing his passion with his feud with EC3 towards the end of the year. You could have went Mike Bennett. I mean, there was just so many good ones. And, I'm not doing them all justice, but I got to go with EC3 at the press conference. I really thought that was a really solid promo.
There's so many that, like what you just said, the press conference, it didn't even really come to my mind. And yeah, like I could almost say any Mike Bennett promo, any Rosemary promo, any Eli Drake, any EC3. The EC3 one against Mike Bennett when he told him how he hoped that Mike Bennett won the belt just so EC3 could take it away from him. That one was great. Even Cody Rhodes and Aaron Rex's intro promos. You think about Maria Kanellis-Bennett when she was kind of going into Dixie, and she kind of like really lost into that whole crazy thing where I can't even remember what she kept repeating, but she kept repeating the same word. But for me, it's without a doubt Maria Kanellis when she won the Knockouts title, the way that she berated Allie. I think that was like the best promo I've seen in so many years, and I think that absolutely made Allie, made her so big and got the crowd so behind her that they just can't wait for it to change. And I think literally in that promo, she literally made 2 stars in herself and as Allie. I think she made herself the biggest heel on that roster in the women's division by far. I think she helped turn Allie really into America's sweetheart. I think Maria had the 2 best promos of the year, to be honest with you. And I don't think Maria gets enough credit or props for this, so I wanted to make sure that it got out there.
Definitely.
So, let's see, Hurls, anything you wanted to add, or do you want to go on to the next category?
Yeah, real quick, I just want to say there were so many good promos, but it was really hard to pick. This was probably the toughest one to pick because, there were so many good ones. But I know the Aaron Rex debut one was really good. And a lot of people think he hasn't done quite enough to live up to that as far as in TNA goes. They thought that was his best so far with his run in TNA. So hopefully Aaron Rex will find a groove in 2017. But the next category that I want to go on to is most improved. This one was kind of easy for me, but I really only had about 2 or 3 people in mind with this one. But I went with Crazy Steve. I feel Crazy Steve reinvented himself with the DK, and I thought his mic work was just phenomenal this year, and his in-ring work, and the shape that he's in. I mean, he's definitely in probably the top prime shape he's ever, he's going to be in. He looks just jacked. I think the most improved for 2016 in TNA is definitely Crazy Steve this year.
It's weird you say that this one is relatively easy for you because this is the other one for me that I feel is almost impossible to answer. Crazy Steve is in my list. The other, and Hurls, you say Crazy Steve completely reinvented himself. Who reinvented themselves more than Matt Hardy? As ridiculous as it is to say for most improved in 2016, Matt Hardy is in there. I think of Matt Hardy, I think of Crazy Steve, I think of Jesse Goddard, I think in-ring ability, that dude made the biggest jump more than anyone. And also DJ Z. DJ Z has improved so much. His in-ring performance, a little bit better of a talker. The crowds are behind him. He's a great X-Division champion. But Hurls, this is my conclusion. The most improved wrestler in 2016, as ridiculous as it is to say, is Bobby effing Lashley. His mic work, his ring work, I think Bobby Lashley, his title reign this year ranks up there with Bobby Roode for the greatest in TNA. It's 1A and 1B. I couldn't tell you which one. If I had to, I would still probably say Roode a little bit, but Lashley, talker, main eventer, in the ring. Amazing matches with almost everyone that he went out there and had a match with. And so, as ridiculous it is to say, the former world champion, now he's a 3-time champ, I believe, Bobby Lashley, by Most Improved 2016.
Yeah, nothing. You could go with a number of guys. What I was really basing mine off of was how far they've come, and I feel like Bobby Lashley in 2015 was huge for his improvement, and I think 2016 he just reached the top of the mountain. But with Crazy Steve, it was like he came from the menagerie, and now he's actually being talked about as a serious contender. So, you can't go wrong with either guy. You can look at it, and you can look at somebody else and pick them and be, perfectly right. But
and I don't think you can go wrong with Jesse Goddard or DJZ as an answer either, and in ways even Matt Hardy because of what he's done as a character and how much he's brought that up. There was a lot of improvement. And Crazy Steve, man, like I love that guy. Love Crazy Steve. Definitely impressed with how much he's made, how much he's progressed, where he's went from the decay to being the guy that, like, it seemed didn't even understand the rules of pro wrestling and being a tag team champion to finally getting talk time. Due to anyone who hasn't heard our interview with Rosemary and Crazy Steve, listen, because Crazy Steve can talk. That dude can put promos together. He's just got to be able to get it on TV and give him the right amount of time and passion. I think he's a star in the making.
Well, that is if he can recover from getting shot out of a volcano.
That's very true. I forgot that may have happened. Hopefully he's alive.
I hope.
So, even though God knows what he tried to do to myself and Brother _ and we did witness him kill someone on Total Nonstop Deletion as well. Oof, not forget that.
We may have to have a second interview with him.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be nice one day. You know who we shouldn't have a second interview with is Ric Flair.
Yeah, that guy's banned from the HeelCast forever.
We may as well just let that on there for HeelCast Nation to listen to, because hell, it did happen, right?
It did. It is live, as they say. Anything can happen when you go live.
Exactly. Raven Effect had shit to do, and it really bothered him at the time. But I mean, looking back on it, it's kind of funny. So I just hope we didn't get our identity theft taken. All right, Hurls.
All right. The next category.
Yeah.
I want to
Best Talker.
Best Talker. Yes, Best Talker.
And then we go to the best of for the categories. It's only fitting we do this one. All right.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt you, buddy. Go for it.
All right, best talker, TNA 2016. There was a lot of candidates you could choose for this one, and they're not wrong. But once again, I got to go Eli Drake. I mean, the stuff he came up with this year was just great. And like I said, there's no wrong answer, because you definitely could have picked Bennett. You could have picked Matt Hardy. You could have picked EC3. You could have picked Rosemary. You could have picked Maria Kanellis. You could have picked even Allie. I mean, there were so many, and some I'm sure I'm forgetting, but I'm going Eli Drake just because he's got that rock style promo in him, and it just connects with the audience, and the way he's able to be an asshole to everybody, it just works. It just works for him. So for 2016 Best Talker, I'm going Eli Drake.
You named all the names I would have said that can be in that category, and I'll throw James Storm in there too. As the other person, but yeah, dude, Eli Drake, EC3, Mike Bennett, Broken Matt, Rosemary, Maria, James Storm. That's the names I have written down. I can't believe I'm not picking EC3, because the face turn, I think, kind of diminished a little bit. It's Eli Drake. It is. It's just him and Bennett. I come down to think about it, and then like Rosemary and Maria pop up, and it's like, well, no, I think it's Eli Drake this year. I would have given it to EC3 hands down a couple years ago. But I want to say this: I think the list of names that we just said, that's the best talkers in the entire industry, in my opinion. I think TNA by far has the best talkers in the entire industry. They write their own stuff. They're not write it, but they say their own stuff. They don't have these terrible writers like the WWE does. Lord knows ROH isn't fucking with TNA on the mic. The one thing TNA did really well is they recruited people with personalities, and I think you have a roster full of stars. And, dude, if the Pope was an active wrestler, he'd be in this conversation too, I'm sure. I mean, they have all that potential there with them, but I'm going to give it to Eli Drake for this year.
Definitely. Good choice. That's the second one we have, I think, or third one we've agreed on tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Clean sweep for Eli Drake, too. So.
All right. Going to the next category, why don't we do TNA Knockout of the Year for 2016? Raven Effect, why don't you start?
Yeah, throw the other one. Dude, this one's kind of hard for me, too. It's Maria, it's Rosemary, and it's also Gail. That's who I have it kind of dwindled down to. I think as far as in the ring, with the belts, having the best matches, she was the most active wrestler, I believe, because neither Maria or Rosemary were that active on TV. I think Gail has it there, but I'm going to give this one to Maria Kanellis-Bennett. I think Maria made Gail get more over, as hard as that is to say, because I think Maria's mic work did it. She was, as a valet for Mike Bennett, for what she's been able to do with Allie. I think she's getting Lauren Von Tesh over. I don't even know what she's called anymore. Lauren Von Tess over. I think she made Allie. I think she made the Gail feud big. When she became the leader of the Knockouts division, kind of pushed them away. You saw Madison turn on Gail. You saw other things like that, and I think Maria Kanellis-Bennett is the Knockout of the Year for 2016.
Very, 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 very solid choice. I really wanted to give this one to Jade, but, she was just never the vocal point. She started off hot, but I just don't think her title reign lived up. It wasn't the best of TNA for this year. But Jade had some phenomenal matches. But I'm also going to go with Maria Kanellis-Bennett as the TNA Knockout of 2016. Everything she was involved in was a big storyline. It was a big deal. And like you said, she got so many people over from the storylines that she was in. Maria, and she won the Knockouts title as well. So, that solidified it for me. So Maria Kanellis-Bennett is my pick as well.
And I want to throw Sienna's name in there too, just so she gets enough credit, because I thought her world title reign was great. I wish they wouldn't have dropped it. I feel like Sienna would have. I feel like they did drop a ball with her. I think she's fantastic. I think she has a very bright future. I'm excited to see her and Rosemary. Maybe we'll see that this week on the Live Impact. But Sienna had I think, the best title reign for the Knockouts division this year as well. So there's that. Let's go with. Or you got any more to say actually on the Knockouts, Hurls, before we get to the next one?
No, I'm good. Yep, I'm ready to go to the next category.
All right, man, we're going to another hard one. Feud of the Year. Hurls, I'm going to throw it to you. I'm going to default to you here to let you get it out of the way here.
Oh, wow.
Not easy.
Yeah, you just. No, this was not.
Not doing you any favors.
This was very hard. But you got to pick one. So I'm going to go with my 2016 TNA Feud of the Year was the Broken Hardys versus the DK. After the final deletion, and once you kind of saw Jeff go back with Matt, you kind of realize, they're going to become a tag team again. It was only a matter of time before they locked horns with the DK. DK were the champions. Hardys were, on a train going straight to the titles. And at Bound for Glory, that was the match I was looking forward to the most. And, when they had Delete or DK, that was just so great. There's so many things I liked out of that. I just thought those two, and then culminating at Bound for Glory with the Great War, I just thought those two had magic in a bottle, and I was really anticipating them to feuding. And it was just a great feud, and they had a lot of great matches, and I just think that was my favorite feud of the year. There were so many other ones you could pick, but I'm going to go for feud of the year for TNA for 2016 is Broken Hardys versus the DK.
I hear ya. There's also Matt versus Jeff. Matt and EC3 had a decent feud. EC3 and Lashley was great. Of course, EC3 versus Mike Bennett. And, EC3 and Lashley even kind of started towards the very beginning of the year, during the Kurt Angle, his final match. And I think, another moment that we need to give a shout-out to is Kurt Angle's final speech. As part of the moment of the year when he left TNA. I don't want that to go unknown because, the guy is a legend. But for me, the feud of the year actually basically took up most of the year. Gail versus Maria for me. It had a very quick blow-off to it, but that's what we expected. But it did its job. It got all the way to Bound for Glory. Title was on the line. Maria, true babyface versus heel fashion. Gail gets into the Hall of Fame. Another moment we should definitely leave or make light of because huge thing for Gail Kim, well deserved. But Gail finally getting her revenge on Maria that night. Pretty big. The feud was great, and I think, Jesus, man, if we want to put it in a way, the Maria versus Allie, but I just don't think you can call it a feud until what we're going to see next year. But Maria versus Allie easily could have ran away with it had that actually developed into a feud this year, but I'm saying Gail versus Maria.
That's definitely a good pick. The longevity of that feud, that definitely was probably the longest feud of the year, with Maria getting injured before Slammiversary, so that definitely made that feud go a lot longer. But it worked. Everything they were able to do just worked within the storyline. Maria made Gail Kim's life a living hell for a good, 5-6 months. So that feud, when you saw it at Bound for Glory, not the greatest match, but still a lot of anticipation. Gail finally getting her hands on Maria. So that's another very strong pick.
Yeah, definitely. But so was yours. That was definitely one that was very close. I kind of figured that's going to be the main one. I kind of feel like Hardy's and DK will probably run away with it, in most people's opinions. So can't blame you there, buddy. It's your turn to pick.
All right.
No, that last one's going to be, but so we got match of the year, tag team of the year. Which one do you want to go with?
I'm gonna go tag team of the year. Now this one was hard to pick as well because there was a lot of things that happened early in the year. Like you had Beer Money, who was there. We thought we were going to get them for a while. I had no idea Bobby Roode was going to leave. We thought we were going to have the Wolves all year long. We had no clue Davey Richards was going to tear his ACL. So there was kind of a void in the tag team division for a while because we had no idea what was going to happen. But then we had Decay came out of nowhere, and they just rocked it out of the park. But for a while they were kind of dominating until the Broken Hardys got together because we weren't really sure how Jeff Hardy was going to be in 2016 because he was coming off the injury from the motorbike accident. So, the tag team of the year it could have been so many different teams, but to me personally, this was very hard because it's between two teams. And I'm going to do a tie because I can't pick. I literally cannot pick a tag team of the year because it's either Decay or Broken Hardys, but I feel like they both did great stuff, and they were both tag team champions for TNA. I can't pick because they're just equally just as good. So I'm going to go with a tie on this one between Broken Hardys and DK for TNA Tag Team of the Year for 2016.
Yeah, you brought it up early, but man, tag team division had so much potential. This could have been Beer Money, Wolves, Hardys, DK, Broman's faces, man. They were improved with Jesse Goddard's improvement. And let's not forget Eric Young and Bram were a tag team. This tag team division had so much potential this year. And unfortunately, it really didn't get to do it with the injuries, with Bobby Roode leaving for NXT, with EY leaving and going to NXT eventually. It sucks. But look, we still had a great thing, and the Hardys as a tag team, huge. Rosemary added to the DK, put those two together. Crazy Steve, Chance Forum, huge. For me, look, it's the DK. Hardys, they didn't get together until later. DK had those belts for most of the year. They beat Beer Money. They carried some real good matches with Bromance, and I'm not going to take anything from Bromance. I'm not. They're good wrestlers. Both of them are. But I think it's DK, Hardy's obvious runner-up. They just and remember, even Eli Drake and Jesse Goddard were a tag team at one time. I mean, there was a lot of potential. The Helms Dynasty, those guys, man, focus on them more. There could have been a lot of potential for good tag team wrestling in TNA, but for me, it's the DK.
Yeah, I mean, you even had some of the lesser ones, too. I mean, you had Tribunal. You're in Grado. Obviously, they're not going to win it, but, the Bromans was another interesting situation because, once Beer Money left, they kind of just needed another tag team that they had in the past that they could use because, when you looked at it, Jesse Goddard was kind of doing his solo thing. Robbie E. was doing his solo thing. So they kind of came out of nowhere. But I just don't know if they're still a team even because it kind of seemed like they were going their separate ways a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think that Robbie E. and Grado are now a tag team, and I think that Shira and maybe Al Snow are a tag team, and I think Jesse Goddard is going to break out.
Yep.
All right, man. So we're down to the two big ones. Match of the year for 2016. Easy one to answer, right, Hurls?
Oh, gosh. No, not at all.
It's not at all.
This was hard.
Close.
And honestly, as of right this moment, I'm still not really sure on my match of the year, but you want to take this one first?
Yeah, sure. I'll throw it out there. I'll throw out the things that came to mind, too. So, Matt versus Jeff, Slammiversary. The X Division title match at Slammiversary comes to mind. Drew Galloway versus Kurt Angle, number 1. Drew Galloway versus Kurt Angle, number 2. The, what was it? I'm trying to even think of the other one that just came to mind. It was the Wolves against Angle and Galloway at one night only. James Storm and Bobby Roode against EY and Bram. EC3 and Mike Bennett, Slammiversary, Jade versus Rosemary for the title in the cage. Storm versus Lashley, Eddie Edwards versus Lashley. All that stuff, great. For me, my runner-up is the Wolves versus DK Monsters Ball. I think that match is so underrated. I think it's the best Monsters Ball I've seen. But number 1 for me is Drew Galloway versus Bobby Lashley at Slammiversary.
Solid pick. Every match that you mentioned is definitely right up there. Before I give my my match of the year away, I think Tag Team Apocalypto's got to be up there just because of the off the wall craziness that happened with it. Obviously it wasn't like your standard technical masterpiece, but it was something so out of the box, and it was so crazy, all the stuff that happened. I guess it really depends on what you look for in a match, like what you want to see. But I'm not going to go with the Tag Team Apocalypto. I'm actually going to go with the Eddie Edwards versus Bobby Lashley title defense of Eddie Edwards. Not the one where Eddie Edwards won the title, but the Bobby Lashley's rematch clause. I thought that match was just really, really, really good. And it wasn't the longest match ever, but I think it was just so good. They had such great chemistry that match. Everything flowed really nicely. And I think it really solidified Eddie Edwards as a champion because there may have been some people that just didn't think he deserved it. But that match, in my opinion, was way better than the one where Eddie Edwards won the title. So that is my match of the year. But my close runner-up is Drew Galloway versus Bobby Lashley at Slammiversary. That's my runner-up.
I also want to give a shout-out to the Destination X match between Eddie Edwards and Bobby Lashley, where Davey Richards came back, and they did that false finish, and you thought, like, holy shit, Eddie's going to win it. I think that one deserves some credit, too. And there was a lot this year, man, and that's good, because I think 2014, like, it was hard to find one, and not for a good reason. 2015 definitely had some good matches, but I think 2016 blew it away as far as in-ring, match of the year candidates for TNA.
2014, the thing that saved TNA was those Hardys versus Team 3D versus Wolves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Best of 7. I mean, those were definitely the ones you wanted to watch in TNA.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. They're literally the only ones that, like, literally save a company to have, like, okay, there's some we can actually hang our hats on for being match of the year. It was that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Taking nothing away from those matches because they were definitely nothing to shit on. But, yeah. Definitely a much better 2016, where we have all these options to choose from. So here we are, man. Wrapping it up. Wrestler of the Year, 2016. Who you got?
I have an answer here. When I looked at it all, and I looked at everything from start to finish, and what they did to deserve this and the body of work they put on, my wrestler of the year is Matt Hardy. He just created a catchphrase that got over on WWE television. People bringing TNA signs to WWE television. He was just so over. Everything he did this year was gold. Maybe not at the start of the year, but as soon as he turned into the broken character, he just took off. And, he won the TNA World title this year. He won the TNA Tag Team titles this year. He had his own freaking episode. And I know most people didn't, watch this past week, but, he's having another boy. So congrats to him. But everything he touched this year was gold. And everything he did with Jeff Hardy, and he now outshines Jeff Hardy, as crazy as that is. He was bigger than Jeff Hardy, probably for the maybe the first time in a while that's happened. So my 2016 Wrestler of the Year is definitely Matt Hardy.
Hard to argue. Very hard to argue. He's the biggest thing. He may be the biggest thing in wrestling. I mean, the ratings, TV ratings don't show it, but like everyone knows what it's Matt Hardy when you hear delete, delete, delete everywhere. Yeah, I mean, the names that I had, Brother Nero was there. He's not winning it. Eddie Edwards, definitely a strong candidate. I mean, the guy held TNA Tag Team, TNA X Division Gold twice, and the TNA World Heavyweight title all in 1 year. Extremely impressive. He's had some fantastic matches, too. Especially in this title reign, man. The title reign, the guys went out there and he has busted his ass, and he's had great match after great match after great match. It's a shame that so many people aren't behind him as champion, but he's great. Mike Bennett was a guy I thought had a better year than Eddie and Jeff Hardy. Showed a lot of people he was a star. EC3 next is a guy I figured to be a runaway for 2016 Wrestler of the Year at the start. I think he's lost some momentum. I think he should kind of be Wrestler of the Year every year if I were running TNA. So then I come down to your guy, Broken Matt, and dude, in a way, yeah, he's every bit 2016 Wrestler of the Year in my opinion, but not overall. I mean, I would never argue it. In many ways, I could see the argument and say that's who it is. For me, it came down to two guys, and it's between Drew Galloway and Bobby Lashley, because I think Drew Galloway put on the best matches out of anyone in this company all year long, and really proved a lot of things I don't think the guy gets the respect that he deserves anywhere near that. But 2016 for me was the year of Bobby Lashley. Title reign, fantastic. Improved everywhere. Mike talking. You guys a champ, kicking ass in Bellator, making TNA look great. And I mean, Lashley had so many great matches too. I mean, who's Lashley had a bad match with? And that's something that, you know, a few years back, who would have? I mean, Bobby Lashley was no, you know, top-notch wrestler and go out there and have a good match with just about anyone. So for me, as hard as it is to not pick Drew Galloway or Broken Matt Hardy, I'm going with Bobby Lashley.
Very, very, very solid pick. I mean, I can say too with Drew Galloway, once Kurt Angle, you know, is done with TNA and you don't have AJ Styles, I think Drew Galloway now is the workhorse wrestler of TNA. Like, they look at him to just put on a great match every time he goes out there. And I know he's been tearing it up on the indies as well. So Drew Galloway is definitely a strong choice. And Bobby Lashley, you don't really have to say anything more about the guy. He's so talented, and, you know, he's really figured out the art of pro wrestling, because every match he's in, for a guy his size, he destroys Brock Lesnar in match psychology and things he's able to do in the ring. Bobby Lashley is the complete package. He don't need no manager to get him over either. He can do it by himself. So, very, very solid pick.
Absolutely. And I'll say this, dude, MMA, if they had a real fight, Bobby Lashley would beat Brock Lesnar's ass. It wouldn't even be a close fight. Mark my word. But
easily.
So let's do this. Hurls, biggest overall star, TNA. Maria Kanellis-Bennett, your knockout of the year. Hardy's your tag team of the year. Or Broken Matt, your wrestler of the year. Hardy's MDK, Broken Matt, or Maria, who is your overall top star TNA?
Definitely, I would say my overall star for this year, I'd say Broken Matt, just for the amount of the, you know, how many eyeballs he got to the product, and that's what you ultimately wanted in a year of uncertainty and some turmoil. You know, Broken Matt was just something so different that, you know, the wrestling world hadn't seen. And once he started doing that, I mean, it just took off. And you don't get that often. And, you know, it was just so cool to see something like that just take off, and something like you were behind from day one and you get to see where it is now. So I got to go Broken Matt Hardy.
Yeah, I mean, even saying that, like, the biggest star in TNA or, like, your top star, I would even have to say Broken Matt. But, I mean, as far as for me, like, my top star, my top person in TNA 2016, between Maria, between the DK, between Lashley, I'm giving 2016 a clean sweep here for Bobby Lashley. I think it was Lashley's year. Like I said, I mean, in a lot of ways, yeah, it was all Broken Matt's year, but I think as far as in the ring, the world champion, putting on a show, it was Lashley. But that was 2016.
It was hell of a year. I think a lot of TNA fans enjoyed it. I know I did. I know you did for most of it.
It was definitely a bounce-back year for TNA, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Before we go, Raven Effect, I want to start off with, what do you want to see in 2017?
Well, I want to see James Storm get the world title. I want to see Davey Richards get the world title. I want to see EC3 elevate himself as a star. I want to see Drew Galloway and the Hardys get re-signed. I want to see Allie versus Rosemary have the best knockouts feud. I want to see Sienna and Jade get TV time. I want to see the DCC do something. I want to see TNA Tag Team Wrestling and X Division Wrestling return to the spot that it needs to be. I want to see Jeff Jarrett back. I want to see some good, big, talented signings, and I want to see the talent re-sign and stay in TNA. And I don't want to see Dixie Carter, and I also do not want to see TNA be looking for another TV deal. And I'd like TNA to get a TV deal in the UK, not just use this app. To start.
Very cool. Very cool.
What about you?
I definitely want to see James Storm as heavyweight champ. That's for sure. I also do want to see Davey Richards as heavyweight champ. Don't care how it happens, if he has to turn heel or whatever. I want to see the X Division. Now, I know the X Division, I thought this year had some promise to it. It was definitely looking like they were at least trying to get it back going again. But I want to see 2017 be the year the X Division is just focused and showcased, hopefully main eventing even. I think that's the one division TNA really needs to work on. I think the tag team division for 2016 had some blows to it, but I think overall, like, the storylines that they got were some of the best. So I think the tag team division definitely improved a lot for TNA in 2016. But I think the X division is definitely the division that they definitely need to work on the most. I think the knockout division is in good hands, especially hopefully they'll bring back, a wrestler like Taylor Wilde. I think she was phenomenal in TNA, so I'd love to see her come back. I would, live events would be cool to have those come back because not everybody can go to Orlando, and there's this rumored India trip that they're talking about, so hopefully, we'll get to see that happen. Hopefully just TNA gets back to financial stability, which I believe they will with Anthem buying them, and I want to see what Jeff Jarrett does in 2017 because there's a lot of rumors that he's going to be back in TNA, so it'd be very interesting to see what he does, and hopefully TNA just get slowly but surely climbs back to their popularity that they had back in 2009.
Yeah, absolutely. Some other things I want to say is I want to see Shinron, I want to see JT Dunn, I want to see Killer Elite Squad get signed full time to TNA. I would like to see Andrew Everett, Mark Andrews, and Trevor Lee really get unleashed and let go and do their thing and become the stars that I think they can be in the X Division to really break out and do something. I think I'd like to see the Helms Dynasty stay together. I don't care if Gregory Helms is still around, but I'd like to see those two because I think they'll be fantastic as a team if they get the chance to branch out. And I'd like to see Crazy Steve get more talk time. I'd like to see him kind of become a star.
Do you want to see Colby Carino?
No, that I'm good on. I'd like to see Steve come be a commentator for TNA, and I'd like to see Pope get back into the ring and become a star. That's for sure. I want this to see like this is the year that EC3 really steps up, and takes back and becomes a megastar and be the face of the company, like for real, as well. Because I think he's their biggest guy, and I want to see Eli Drake win the world title too. I want to see him not leave for WWE.
Yes, that's a big thing for me. I don't want to see any superstars go over to WWE. I want them to stay with TNA and make it bigger than they possibly can dream of. That's what I want from wrestlers who are currently signed to TNA. Give WWE the middle finger. Exactly.
I'd like to see maybe the Ring of Honor TNA relationship.
That would be
someone
cool.
from Ring of Honor come over. I want to see something like that happen. I mean, they're getting the Hardys.
Yeah, I wonder what's up with that. Haven't heard much on that lately.
You'd think TNA would like to capitalize. I'd like to see Alberto Del Rio's crazy, problematic ass never step foot in TNA. I'd like to see Cody return this year.
I agree with you on Alberto Del Rio. I think that guy is just a headache and causes way too many problems. I think he needs to go to rehab.
Yeah,
and stay there for a while.
Probably got some substance abuse issues going on.
Yeah.
He got another issue, two of them. He was in jail, and then he fought his brother in jail. TNA don't work with this guy, and don't bring his woman in there either, because she's just as bad now with him around.
Yep. Those are two superstars. Until they get clean, I don't want to see them. I think there's other younger talent that TNA could definitely go grab. There's guys like Chuck Taylor out there. He was at the One Night Only pay-per-view. I know you weren't very impressed with him, but I like the guy. I've seen some of the stuff he can do. I think TNA would be wise to get him and JT Dunn, definitely. Those two, David Starr, another guy I really like. There's definitely free agents out there TNA can get to make the X division great.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, I'd love to see Bad Influence come back for damn sure. And you know what else I'd love to see in 2017? John Gaburek and Dixie Carter hit the road and let the door hit them in the ass on their way out.
John Gaburek, for me, definitely, after what we heard about him, trying to sell off the tape library or trying to get a job with WWE. I mean, granted, I understand it, but at the same time, he just kind of seems like a weasel to me. So, John Gaburek, don't let the door hit you in the ass.
Yeah. I'd also like to see the DCC not wear those masks when they talk in the ring because it looks really bad. But I'd like to see them. I want to see the tag team division, Bram and Kingston. I want to see them really escalate in the tag team division too.
Very promising tag team.
And I still think Bram's a superstar in the making. I really think that guy's got a lot going for him too. It just seems like there's something missing, but I think Bram's got it. Can definitely do that.
Well, with Bram, I think the potential's all there. Let's just hope he can keep it, his out of work stuff in check. I think that's maybe some of the stuff that's been holding him back. But if he stays clean and just does his thing, no doubt he could easily be a world champion.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, anything else? I mean, I always want to see new talent. New talent come in, and I feel like if we get Jeff Jarrett in there, we're going to get that chance. And there's you see some of these guys that WWE's been able to bring in. I wish TNA would get, or ROH has gotten our New Japan, and guys like Trent Beretta out there that I think is a shining star. Kenny King going back to ROH. We missed out on Web Dragon. There's War Machine. And Matt Taven. There's a lot of good stuff that I think TNA, if they can get the financial thing, get rid of that Dixie Carter stigma, I really, really think that there's something, very positive on TNA's horizon there. They got to do it, and I think Jeff Jarrett, if he were to come in and, like the guys we talked about, Scott D'Amore, Dutch Mantell, stuff like that, there's some potential for TNA to really go back to where they is. I'd like to see Cornette and Russo's name not come back around.
No, I think they're kind of past their usefulness as far as wrestling bookers.
One thing I can say about 2017 is I don't want to see Swoggle become a main fixture. And I'd also like to see more Rockstar Spud. I'd like to see Rockstar Spud get more time to shine and be a talker and do his character, because that guy, he's a talker too, and he could have been on the best talkers list. I think Spud's that good, and I think he's underutilized as hell. And I'd like to see him and EC3 come back as heels together and really do it this time. Tag team champions as well.
That could be good.
Yeah. But big things, man. Big things, right?
I'm excited for 2017. I'm excited because we got new owners. That's my main reason I'm excited.
Wish I could say that about my 49ers.
Ooh. Sorry.
Love some new owners. Yeah, as a Cardinals fan, I don't think you care too much, to be honest with you, Hurls, but it's all good, buddy.
Well, we kind of got our own issues to work out, so.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up 2016 as we're heading on into 2017, as we are currently in 2017. So, HeelCast Nation, Happy New Year, Happy 2017. I am Raven Effect on behalf of Hurls. Check us out this week, as we'll be talking, next week we'll be talking the live episode of Impact and One Night Only Live. HeelCast out. Have a good week, everyone.